Hi everyone, it's Dr. E, and I'm here with a video to walk through the guidelines and expectations for any of those mind maps that you might submit in the future, whether that is in groups or individually. So I just plan to kind of go through the handout, look at some examples, and hopefully provide answers for any of the questions or concerns that may arise as you start getting into this kind of work. So I'm just going to go straight to the handout right now. All right, so the purpose of mind mapping is really to kind of collect all of your ideas, right? So you usually start in the middle of the page with that central idea, which we worked on in our first week, right? And then you have all these ideas that kind of grow out of that central idea. So this can be used in various assignments, whether it is essay writing, whether it's writing about literature. We can utilize this as a way to offer these connections with our ideas without having to write a whole research paper or something like that. It just gets our ideas organized in a more visual way. So it's a little bit more fun maybe than uploading a typical document. All right, so how do I get started, right? You're going to place the central theme or main idea or your controlling point in the center of the page, right? And this probably looks very familiar to many of you because you have likely utilized this as a brainstorming technique or something to kind of get your mind going when it comes to a particular topic. And you have all of these other ideas that kind of move out from that central idea, okay? So I say you may be familiar with thought bubbles, right? So it is very similar to that. It's going to be tempting, and I put here very tempting, this is based on personal experience, y'all, to spend more than enough time, more time than you need to on the formatting, perfecting, coloring, drawing, making it as cool and creative looking as possible. If you have the time to do that, wonderful. Do I expect that everything is going to look absolutely perfect? No, but just it's like thinking about your group names. Don't put too much time and effort into that because it's the ideas that are really important and the way that you're communicating them in the writing, okay? So consider using the templates that are offered, okay? Because I say, you do want your work to look nice, I know, but there are ways to kind of cut through all of that time that you're going to spend kind of nitpicking. So I put here edit, 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 right? You really need to go over your work to ensure that you've met all the requirements for that particular week because every week is going to look a little bit different based on what we're reading, what we're talking about. And so you're going to want to spend some time revising, right? So that you are effectively communicating your ideas, okay? And I put my reference here, which was where I got some of this information on mind mapping, which I thought was really useful. And so in thinking about our course specifically, I put, we had the option to handwrite that initial mind map, but we really want to move into something that's a little bit more organized, either using a template for the course or you can use your own generator. So I put the link for Canva here, which is a site that many of you are probably familiar with for various reasons. So Canva has a really easy to use generator. So you just click on this and then it goes to kind of choosing eventually. I'm going to pause for a second till it pops up. Sorry about that. It finally pulled up. And so you have all these different, options to choose from when you want to put your ideas together with different shapes. Again, don't spend too much time on this part. Just start one and then you can start filling in the details. Okay, and then you'll just go up here and download it so that you can then upload it to D2L to submit in the assignments area or, depending on whatever week it is, wherever it needs to go. Okay, so I'm also going to take some time to walk through the templates. They're there for you to use. Why not use them? But I know some of you want to just kind of be a bit more creative, and that's absolutely fine. So here is one of the templates. Typically, I'm only going to ask for 4 ideas to come out of this central idea, but you can again make some adjustments to this. And then there's another pretty straightforward one, where you just go in, make those updates. Again, not looking for perfection. Sometimes you do have to think about font size, right? It needs to be a size that I can read, but I'm going to be asking you for complete sentences, not just little, phrases here or there. So you can adjust the font size and it can go out of that circle if need be, just as long as your ideas are kind of organized in that way. That's really what I'm looking for. Okay, so if we go back, I put here, choose at least 4 subtopics, ideas, or points, okay? From each of these subtopic bubbles, you should then aim for at least 1 point, okay? And I'm gonna get into this, so don't be overwhelmed by this. And I put, aside from the central or main idea in the center, every bubble or part of the map should include complete sentences. And you'll sometimes need to include quotes to support your ideas. So it just really depends on that particular week, what we're reading, is research really going to help support our ideas? What do we actually need there? So as always, just keep an eye on that prompt. You'll want to save your document in Word or PDF format. And this is only because, y'all, I can't tell you the difficulties that have arisen this semester with D2L and documents. The easiest way to avoid some of that is making sure that you're saving in Word format, which is .doc or .docx, or in PDF format, which you can do if you're using a Mac, if you're using PC. Those are options that are available to you, and there is a link in our content area of D2L that walks through, if you're using an Apple, how to convert a Pages document to a PDF. So keep an eye out for that if that is something that you need assistance with. All right, so I've given you kind of example, and I put, take the time to edit and revise, really. I mean, your grade is based on your writing, right? And how effectively you're communicating your ideas. So just a reminder. So I've given you just kind of an example here. This is one that I created, and y'all, I did not take my advice. I took way too long trying to design this and fit everything in. I should have followed my own advice and just used a template, right? But it shows that you can create your own mind map using Microsoft Word by just, inserting shapes and whatnot. All right, so the topic I chose is, I get asked this a lot. How can I be a success in Dr. E's class? Okay, so I chose 4 main ideas, which are represented by the different colors. I also put the different main ideas in squares, and then the offshoots of that in circles, just showing you how you can utilize this kind of visual representation of your ideas. So one thing, you need to use all the resources in order to be a success, okay? You need to ask for help, which a lot of you are, and I really appreciate. Following instructions. I can't tell you how it feels as though in a lot of classes, especially online classes, 90% of your chances for success will be based on just following the instructions, right? Whether it's in a video, in a handout, that kind of thing. So just make sure that you're putting that time into it. And then time management, right? So from each of these are more details. So for using resources, I know that taking additional steps or using various resources will ensure my work, so I'm writing from a student perspective, is well written, focused, Resources are provided to help me, so I'll take advantage of online tutoring, the library's online help, and any of the tools. Grammarly, I'm going to say it all the time. Why not download Grammarly and have that in your tool belt? The Purdue OWL site, etc. Asking for help, even though it can be a bit scary at first, I know to be successful, I'll need to ask either Dr. E or my colleagues for help, for help to make sure I understand the assignment and requirements. Always revising, right? Always revising what we write. And then so coming out of this idea is, when I need help, I'll post in the Q&A discussion board to get help from my colleagues or Dr. E, okay? Following instructions for this course and most other courses in college, it's really important to understand the instructions, right? And then when work is assigned, I'll watch the instructional video. So these ideas are connected to those that are the initial kinds of points that you're trying to make. Time management. In order to achieve my goals in this course, I know it will require that I organize my time well, both in each week, but also across the semester. And then one way for me to work on time management is to use the calendar app on my phone and set up reminders for due dates and times. So these are ideas I think you are all familiar with, but it just helps to kind of reinforce them while also showing you kind of what you can do in terms of putting your ideas together in a mind map. But as you can see, I've used those different colors, which you don't necessarily have to, different shapes, which you don't necessarily have to. But what you do want is those complete sentences. So you want to make sure that your font isn't too tiny to read. If you need to make a text box bigger, even if it doesn't completely fit here, or you can adjust, right? So those things, those options that you've been given, you can work on some of them and adjust them in different ways. So like I said, this is something that you'll be asked to do periodically throughout the semester. So just having a good visual and walking through those guidelines can be helpful. If you have questions, as always, ask or post in that Q&A area of our discussion board. And good luck with this assignment.